Have you ever wondered why the Mark Grayson of our universe is the only one who resists the temptation to turn evil? As we saw in the penultimate episode of the 3rd season, Mark Grayson apparently, in all the multiverses, becomes someone evil, someone so perverse that he can end up enslaving all of humanity, and on top of that, ruining his entire family, his friends, and basically the whole planet. It's more like, as Armstrong Levy himself indicates, despite having the experience of many lives from his other selves, Mark has always been bad. All his versions succumb to darkness. So what makes the original Mark different? Why is he the only one who wants to save humanity and the only one who has resisted absolutely all the temptations to become a perverse person?
I had to kill him. He tried to kill me. He was gonna kill my mom and my—
And honestly, just watching this scene made me think a lot about how evil Mark can be. So in this video, we're going to explore all the reasons behind these differences. So grab your magic herbs and join me with your vibe. As we well know and have touched on in many points, as well as in other videos, the Viltrumites are programmed in a very specific way from birth. They are specifically programmed for conquest. Their culture glorifies power, strength, and supremacy. In fact, many Viltrumites don't even know who their parents are. Just ask Nolan, who, after roughly 1,000 years, discovered he was the legitimate son of Emperor Argal. So you can imagine with many other things, like, for example, the dichotomy Nolan faces when he feels pity for the Thraxans. Why? Explain to me why I cared about them. They shouldn't matter to me. You don't understand, Mark. I shouldn't feel this way. Who would think it's better to be like that? This puts his own upbringing with the Viltrumites into question, and this effectively applies to all multiverses. Just imagine this. A child with Viltrumite DNA grows up watching his father, Omni-Man, demonstrate his crushing superiority. This child learns that physical power and longevity are the only things that matter, and we've seen many cases where the Marks from other multiverses, unfortunately, are raised exclusively by Nolan without anything to counteract that mentality. It's easy to see why so many Marks end up following the same path as their father. Take Omni-Mark as an example. This Mark killed his own father to take the throne. In his own words, he not only hated his father, he hated his entire home, and as a form of mockery and narcissism, he wore the same colors as Omni-Man. Although it seems unbelievable, he was easily defeated by Batman in the comics, and although in the animation he's still alive, well, things will happen in the future, I suppose, unless they change it.
I hate coming back to this place.
Another extreme case is Sinister Mark, where something quite similar happened, except this one added a little more to his story and ended up eating his own father. Without moral values, this Mark lost all sense of humanity and became a monster. Other similar cases include Imperial Mark, who joined all the Viltrumites, the other Imperial Mark with a mustache, who's also on the Viltrumite side, Striped Mark, Long-Haired Mark. You could say the one who varies the most from all this is Scarred Mark, who, in the comics specifically, could be considered a good Mark as he went against Nolan. However, all this pressure caused his mind to twist, slowly descending into madness. That said, in the animation they changed this, as he is inherently evil and seems more like a Viltrumite fugitive than a prisoner for resistance. Do you see? This is a very specific pattern in many multiverses, and there's a common factor in all the evil Marks, and I think you've already noticed it.
When you and Dad first met, you dated, right?
Yes, we dated. What, did you think we just met, got married, and had you?
No, but what was it like? For you, I mean.
Well, it was thrilling.
Debbie Grayson is a human who was involved in raising Mark and also in dealing with her husband Nolan. She is much more than just a human. She's the person who taught Mark empathy, kindness, and the value of protecting others. It's very interesting how, in many of the Marks as multiverses, Debbie either doesn't exist or Nolan had to end her life at a very early age, while other Marks were raised under the brutal value of the Viltrumites, or they were fully immersed in that culture. The original Mark had a balanced influence. Debbie constantly reminded him that power isn't everything, that human relationships have incalculable value. And I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning, Mark did this with his opponent.
Hold on, I want to talk! What rules? I don't even know who you are!
That conversation opened the door for him to meet Alan and understand the true reasons why he kept coming to Earth. And here, other examples of Marks come up who are inherently evil, but for misguided reasons. One of these is the Mark who's completely covered. He lost his mother at an early age, and because of this, he avenged her and defeated Nolan. However, his mind became so warped that he wants to take the Debbie from the original Marks universe, which is pretty devastating.
Not all of us killed Mom. I liked it here. I came here to find Mom and bring her back with me.
With the original Debbie, she also changed Nolan's mindset. Let's remember that it was her love that made Omni-Man reconsider all his actions, and that's why this scene makes so much sense.
Look at Mark. You and I We made him. He's ours. When he feels joy, we feel joy. See that look on his face? How can you see that and not feel the same way?
After the massacre of the Guardians of the Globe, if a simple human can change one of the most powerful beings in the universe, what else could she achieve? In fact, this connection is so strong that it's supposedly said that Nolan delayed his entire conquest just so Debbie and Mark could live as humans, completely at peace until they pass on. And that's why from the beginning of the comics, Nolan was so worried about Mark awakening his powers, something he knew was inevitable but still reconsidered.
Calm down.
I will not calm down! This is insane! What do you think is gonna happen? That I'm gonna go enslave my friend?
And this is why the original Mark isn't good just because he has a good heart. He's good because he had a mother who never stopped believing in him, who guided him toward the light even when everything seemed dark. In the Invincible multiverse, Debbie Grayson is the true heroine, you could say. She's the reason our Mark remains a hero and the only one across the multiverses. So, here's to mothers. Long live Nolan. I hope you enjoyed this video a lot. I know it might seem a bit obvious that Mark turned out good specifically because of his upbringing, but what's incredible is that he's the only one. You know, they didn't even know Nolan was a father. As I mentioned, Viltrumites don't know who their parents are, just like the original Anissa. But despite having thousands of years, it's interesting and a bit funny that Viltrumites don't know how to raise anyone with the ethics and morals that supposedly govern true peace across the world. And instead, they prefer to lie to all the planets. I mean, so wise and intelligent, but they weren't that wise after all. Anyway, this is a hypothesis, and it might be true or not, we don't know. So, I'll start saying goodbye here. Thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. And once again, a huge thanks for all the support the channel is getting. Welcome to all the new folks, and sorry if I ever let a loose screw fly, but I think we're used to it by now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on future uploads. It really helps the channel grow. Also, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know what topic you'd like me to cover next. Whether it's more multiverse theories, character deep dives, or something completely different, I'm all ears. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.